strategic road development plan which has completely decongested the city. So, sir, under your vision and under the vision of our great Chief Minister, Sri KTR Garu, the city has taken tenfold growth in last 8 years, and we have a 100-fold growth in the future. Thank you very much, and thank you very much for attending this. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. The presentation was inspiring and engaging. Looking forward to a successful Utsav.
May I now request the President of IIA, Architect C.R. Raju Garu, on the dais to address the gathering. Sir, please.
Honorable Minister, respected Sri K.T. Ramarao Garu, Chairman of IIA Telangana Chapter, Architect Uday Shankar Dhoni, Convener of this NatCon 21, Utsav, Architect Sridhar Gopisetti, my colleague office bearers of Telangana Chapter, our trustees who are present here, the past presidents of IIA, the council members, national council members of the Indian Institute of Architects, chapter chairman, and the entire family of architects, students, and their spouses who have come here in large numbers, and the sponsors for this IIA NatCon. A very good evening and welcome to this NatCon 2021. We all know architecture in this country has a long history and a rich legacy. The Indian Institute of Architects is the largest professional body and the only professional body having a presence throughout the country in 24 chapters and 54 centers and 17 sub-centers, with a membership of more than 25,000, and it has 105 years of history. And given this, the practice, the architectural practice, the Architects Act 1972, which was passed in Parliament in the year 1972. With this kind of legacy and history, our country is progressing very rapidly now. Today we are in Hyderabad, Telangana, where we are seeing an exponential growth, which is one of the very visible aspects of development. If you compare all the 4 southern states, I think Hyderabad is the most happening place, with a lot of development encouraged by the administration and the leadership. Urbanization is good, but I think we should also lay some stress and importance to our rural areas, the small towns, the small cities, how we are going to improve the living infrastructure in those areas. I think our Urban Development Minister will definitely must have a roadmap for this kind of a thing, so that a holistic development throughout the state or throughout the country happens, and migration can be distributed or not concentrated in a few places. Today we see most of the urban areas are totally bursting at the seams, some of them. So there is a need for a relook at how the infrastructure is distributed across various areas and how we can safeguard our tradition and culture in the long run. Because our country is rich in its vernacular forms, in the artisans, in the traditional methods of building construction, and many such areas. So, though technology has given us a lot of strength now, how we are going to use that to advantage to be beneficial to the society at large is the task before the architects, and I think the next 2 days, this national convention. There are a number of speakers. We have our keynote speaker today, Dr. Bimal Patel, who is here, and we have two distinguished awardees. Architect Shirish Berry from Kolhapur, who is going to be awarded the IIA Babu Rao Gold Medal for Architectural Practice, and Professor K.T. Ravindran, who is going to be awarded the gold medal, the IIA Madhav Achwal Gold Medal for teaching in their own spheres. So we have a lot of content to be deliberated and discussed. And any convention is a platform for many people to come together, exchange ideas, and give a positive, bonding among the fraternity, because I always feel architects are goodwill ambassadors in the society, and there are many stalwarts who have laid the foundation for the architecture to flourish in this country. Apart from times immemorial, there have been many people who have contributed to the growth of this profession. So we pay a salute to all the stalwarts and the doyens of our fraternity who have brought this profession to this particular stage today, and appreciate and salute their efforts. And we have to carry on the legacy and leave footprints for the future generation to follow and cultivate and imbibe a good culture and tradition for the architecture of the future. So with these few thoughts, I would mention that this national convention is organized by Telangana chapter with a lot of effort, interest, and a lot of attention to detail. So please stay, relax, enjoy, and benefit from the 2 days of hospitality of Telangana, which is very, very warm, and let us all experience and live with memories to cherish for a long time to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your wonderful thoughts and ideas. All of your thoughts and ideas have enlightened the evening, much like the glow of the diya.
The Indian Institute of Architects has a tradition to recognize the contributions of fellow architects in the Indian industry and instituted in fond memory of architect Baburao Mahatre and architect Madhav Ashwal.
May we now request Joint Honorary Secretary, Architect Leena Kumar Garu, to read the citation.
Thank you. This is the citation for the IIA Baburao Mahatre Gold Medal being presented to Architect Shirish Berry. Architect Shirish Rajajam Berry, born on 30th of November 1950, is an alumnus of CEPT Ahmedabad and a fellow member of the Indian Institute of Architects. His persona as an architect and his intense engagement with nature, solitude, meditation, philosophy, yoga, photography, arts, poetry, painting, films, gardening, farming and ecology, traveling, and above all, being a very sensitive human being, defies traditional definitions. His work truly reflects his values and concerns about the growing disconnect between humankind and nature. He probes the intangible and immeasurable multisensory dimensions of space. He believes that the issues of sustainability can only be addressed through right attitudes and goals born out of an inherent sense of unity and harmony with natural and man-made elements and forces. He has designed a number of prestigious and award-winning campuses for research, rehabilitation, healthcare, and education, besides a large number of other important buildings. He has received the J.K. Great Masters Award, Architecture Plus Design Award, SERA Awards, and Arcacia Gold medals, to name a few. He has authored 5 books, which notably include Spaces Inspired by Nature and Wanderings and Ponderings. His works, interviews, talks, and articles are widely acclaimed and published in national and international journals, periodicals, and books. He has also very successfully mastered the art of expressing himself through poetry, paintings, and sketching. His clarity of thoughts on a range of subjects, and above all, to his attitude to life, backed by an in-depth knowledge and an evolved understanding, coupled with his command on language and an exceptional quality of oratory skills, makes him an almost permanent invitee to seminars and conferences at various national and international forums. In recognition and appreciation of his outstanding contribution to the field of architecture and allied fields, the Indian Institute of Architects takes great pride in presenting the IIA Baburao Mhatre Gold Medal to architect Shirish Rajaram Berry on this 14th day of May 2022 during the IIA National Convention 2021 being held at Hyderabad. Architect Shirish Berry, I request Architect Nilima to please accompany him to the stage. Can I have the...
Thank you, ma'am. May we now request Architect C.R. Raju Garu to present the gold medal and citation to Architect Sirish Bedi Garu. Thank you, sir. May we now request Sri K.T. Ramarao Garu, Ministry of Municipal Administration and Urban Development of Telangana, to present the memento and shawl to Architect Sirish Bedi Garu, please. Thank you, sir. Congratulations, Architect Sirish Bedi Garu. May I request sir to please share his thoughts? Sir, please.
Dignitaries on the dais and friends, frankly speaking, I stand here today not just overwhelmed, but humbled by IIA office bearers' decision to bestow their highest Baburao Mhatre Gold Medal award on me. I'm truly grateful to them for this honor. The architecture that has evolved from my constant questioning of life and architecture tries to find a somewhat vulnerable expression in the meaningful interface between our physical outer space and our psychological inner space. It seeks joy, a sense of wonder, and a spatial beauty by befriending the simple, the mundane, and the ordinary. I feel that this award seeks to recognize and honor some of my design values that I cherish rather than me as a person. This award seems to celebrate our sacred relationship and empathy with nature, and in an era of rampant natural exploitation. It honors my values of spatial equity, open accessibility, and inclusive interactive spaces in today's times of inequity and exclusive closed communities. This award tends to appreciate the need for shifting our emphasis from glossy, superficial wrappings to deeper inner content, from salubility to sanctity. Through this award, our architectural fraternity recognizes the genuine green attitudes that create truly sustainable spaces, which in turn nurture the human spirit. Those attitudes of concern and caring, simplicity and honesty amidst this business of commercialized green ratings. While celebrating professional integrity and ethics, this award also recognizes the efforts made for increasing the architectural awareness in the people at large through books, films, design workshops, etc. To imbibe and implement all these values in architecture requires tremendous teamwork. For this, I am very much grateful to my professional associates, consultants, and staff members who helped in bringing my ideas to the level of execution. To all my clients and their various staff who repose their faith in my work, all the contractors and the various agencies who executed my designs, and to all the engineers, supervisors, and skilled, unskilled workers at site who in very challenging site conditions helped in the materialization of my ideas. I'm also thankful to my friends, professional brothers and sisters who have been a part of my architectural journey, directly or indirectly. And finally, I'm grateful to my late parents for their sizable contribution to what I am today. To my wife Mansi and daughter Purna and other family members for their constant support and encouragement. Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Moving ahead to the next part of the ceremony is the architect Madhav Ashwal Gold Medal.
May we now request Joint Honorary Secretary, Architect Ashutosh Kumar Agarwal Garu, to read the citation. Sir.
Thank you very much. It is indeed a privilege on behalf of IIA to introduce to the House a person who has devoted 4 decades of his life to education of architecture. To say it briefly, it is my privilege to introduce to you Professor KT Ravindran. He graduated in 1968 from AC College of Technology, Madras University, and immediately began a private practice at Madras, which he continued till 1972. Later on, he completed PG Diploma in Urban Design in 1975 and started working as urban designer till 1977 at DAZ Associates, Iran. He traveled in Europe and Africa for a year photographing vernacular architecture, and upon his return to India, he worked with an NGO, Unnayan, at Calcutta, now Kolkata. In 1980, he moved to Hyderabad, recommencing his private practice, during which he started his teaching career as visiting faculty at JNTU Hyderabad in 1981. From Hyderabad, he moved to join School of Planning and Architecture, Delhi, as assistant professor, then as professor, and then he headed the Department of Urban Design, and he became Dean of Studies. His teaching career in SPA Delhi spanned 3 decades, from 1982 to 2012. He has been a highly respected teacher by his students and his colleagues. He had successfully combined practice and teaching and has actively contributed to education in several other ways too. He was founder president of Institute of Urban Designers, India, and was also the chairman of the Delhi Urban Art Commission. He was a founder trustee of Indian Heritage Cities Network Foundation. He was a member of the advisory board of United Nations Capital Master Plan, New York. He is chairman of advisory committee Architecture Heritage Division in TAC, member of Governing Council in TAC. He began his teaching career 14 years after graduation, has about 4 decades of experience in teaching. He guided more than 400 thesis works from India, Europe, and USA. He conducted numerous national and international seminars and workshops. He has been a jury member in many schools in India and abroad. He has published extensively on architecture and urban design nationally and internationally. He has been a member of Board of Studies Governing Council in Urban Design Program in SPA, Delhi, Department of Social Design, Ambedkar University, Delhi, HICC School of Built Environment, National Institute of Design, Vijayawada, Urban Design Program at CEPT, Ahmedabad, TVB School of Habitat Studies, Delhi, Goa School of Architecture, Goa, Anna University, Chennai, Sushant School of Art and Architecture, Gurgaon, Academic Advisory Committee of Vastu Shilp Foundation, Ahmedabad. He has been a member Governing Council, National Institute of Design, Ahmedabad. He is a member of Board of Studies, School of Architecture, CRIST, deemed to be University, Bengaluru. Member of Area Advisory Board, Amity University, Noida. And throughout his career, he has been a brilliant academician and administrator. Today, in recognition and appreciation of his outstanding contribution to the field of architecture education, the Indian Institute of Architects takes great pride in presenting the IIA Madhav Achwal Gold Medal to Professor K.T. Ravindran on this 14th day of May 2022 during the IIA National Convention 2021. Guys, give a big hand to Professor K.T. Ravindran. May I request Architect Jyoti to accompany him to the stage.
Thank you, sir. May we now request Architect C.R. Raju Garu to present the gold medal and the citation to Professor Architect K.T. Ravindran Garu. Now may I request Sri K.T. Ramarao Garu to present the memento and shawl to Professor K.T. Ravindran Garu, please. Thank you, sir. Congratulations, Professor Architect K.T. Ravindran Garu. And may I now request Sir to share his wonderful thoughts.
Honorable Minister, functionaries on this dais, and my friends who are in the audience, I am indeed very, very honored to receive this award. It's been quite a long time for me in the profession. I graduated 54 years back, and it's now today, with this award, I come a full circle. Because I began my first class, I walked into my first classroom, not far from here, in JNTU, exactly 40 years ago. And today to receive this award here means I have come a full circle. So I'm indeed doubly proud to have received it here in Hyderabad. Now, in fact, as Shutosh had already read out, I started teaching in JNTU only after 14 years of work. Work was not just sitting in the studio and producing buildings. Work was a lot of wandering, working with NGOs, working in different countries, working in 4 or 5 different cities. Every 3 years I would get an itch and I'll move out of the place, move to a new place, start a new kind of work. And it was during that course of work that I was approached by the head of department in JNTU to come and teach the subject of landscape architecture, for which I was not trained. So they couldn't find anyone to run the program at that time. This is 40 years ago. And they asked me, would you take this on for us? So in my characteristic style, I saw a challenge and I just entered that space and realized that I'm really not equipped to take classes in landscape architecture, for which I wasn't trained at all. So I made a special trip to Delhi, went to the landscape architecture department, collected bibliography, notes, and all the academic material. And to take a 2-hour class in JNTU, I used to prepare for 4 hours at home. I used to get up 4 o'clock in the morning and start reading so that I can at least have 2 hours of material in the classroom. So it was quite a new experience for me. And it's then that I realized that my real calling is education. Because I've always been interested in books. I've always been a bookworm when I was in school and college. But I never realized that there is this kind of an urge to teach will enter me at all. Because for 14 years, I was just on the road, wandering around, backpacking in places, having a hard life, working in NGOs, working in slums, making demonstrations against injustice in urban development. I was part of lots of things before that. But that's precisely what has enriched my efforts in education, is the fact that one has undergone that kind of hard training in the field, not simply in making good buildings, but also in dealing with the issues of urban development, dealing with issues of people, society, and that of architecture and planning. So it was that richness of experience which actually informed the way I would approach education. Now, as far as education is concerned, I believe that education is a form of communication. It's like any other form of communication. We need to exchange knowledge and ideas between people, and that's pure communication. And in that communication, the most important thing I think that we should remember is that if there is no mutual respect between the teacher and the student, mutual respect, the teacher must respect his or her student, the student must respect the teacher must earn that respect, not by virtue of being in a position of power to give grades or punish the student or whatever. In fact, it is that mutual respect that nurtures any relationship, leave alone between a teacher and a student, between a husband and wife, between father and children, between any kind of friends. It is mutual respect that is the binding glue in a relationship. And that is no different in education. In fact, over a period of time, when you start teaching, you realize that there's nothing called a teacher and a student. Everybody is a student, including the teacher is a student. And for teachers, privileged, because I was privileged because for 40 years, I could keep learning as a student. I don't think there's anyone who went to university for 40 years, but a teacher has that opportunity to do so. So it was a very intense relationship of exchange, which is based on mutual respect, which actually form the platform for the learning environment. This is the first important thing that I learned. Second important thing that I learned is that education in today's terms is not a single person's effort. The subjects are complex, architecture is very complex, urban design is even more complex, city planning is complex. Everything about the city is perhaps the most difficult artifact which human being has ever produced is the city. I mean, if you look at it as an installation, as a work of art, it's a really complex mechanism that brings the city together. And when you are trying to exchange knowledge in that field, it will be foolish for one to think that it's one's own credit that I am able to communicate very well to my students. Equally important is the support that comes from your colleagues, faculty colleagues. So to have a sustained group of people like we had in the urban design program in SPA, who remained in the department for 30, 40 years continuously as a group, it is that co-production of knowledge with this group of people which actually enriched the kind of education that one was part of. And let us also not forget that even more important to the faculty is a motivated student. Without a motivated student, there is no teacher. There is only someone who is coming and showing off his knowledge, which no one receives. Yeah? So it's the motivation in the student, and it's the quality of the student who comes out, the performance that they put forward in their profession. That is what makes a teacher. In fact, a teacher is awarded in the architecture studio or in the urban design studio. A teacher gets an award every review. Every time you have a good review, that is your reward. And every time you have your student performing very well in the field, that is your review. That's your reward. So it is a continuous process in which we are all, you can say, we are in a way, it's an immersive learning experience in which the teacher and the student are part, with bearing equal responsibility. Let us also not forget that there is an institution which provides us the platform for this communication. That's the institution for which we work. For instance, if you look at SPA, I can say today with great gratitude that SPA gave you the space to grow. SPA gave the faculty, didn't constrain the faculty, didn't tell you what you should do and what you should not do. It provided you the space to grow. And without the support of an institution of that kind of an open nature, you cannot really develop a proper educational environment. So it is not just an individual's effort that brings in good education. It's a co-production of a learning environment by the teachers, by the students, and by the institution. So today I accept this award on behalf of all these people, and I have many of my students now sitting in the hall here. I'm very happy to be saying this in front of them. They are equally responsible. This is equally their award as it is mine. Thank you very much. Thank you. My thanks to IIA again, and to the Minister KTR. He just reminded me I share his name, KTR. It was nice to see on the stage a minister with the same initials. So thank you all for giving me this award. Thank you. Bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for your motivating thoughts. We would like to invite our chief guest of the evening, Shri KTR Garu, Shri Kalvakuntla Tarakarama Garu, as we know him, the Cabinet Minister for IT, Engineering and Construction, Municipal Administration and Urban Development, Industries and Commerce Departments. Sir is a legislator from the Sirisila Assembly constituency and is a graduate in Business Studies and holds a master's degree from Baruch College, City University of New York.
Shri K.T. Ramarao Garu took charge of the Municipal Administration and Urban Development, Industry and Commerce, Minings and NRI Affair Departments, unflinching resolve, commitment and inclination to fight for the welfare and development of the state made Shri K.T. Ramarao Garu work with a wide spectrum of industry and political leaders in India and abroad. He has provided visionary leadership and puts in relentless efforts in reimagining and reorienting the departments he was assigned.
We would now like to extend our gratitude to Shri KTR Garu by honoring him. May I now request on the stage Mr. Sunil Saraf, representing our event partner, Radha TMT, to do the honors. Mr. Sunil Saraf is an accomplished industrialist who transformed Radha Smelters into a leading steel construction and real estate conglomerate. Leads from the front as the company's chairman. It's an absolute pleasure to have him today with us.
We now have a photo session with the Honorable Minister. We request the following dignitaries to please move towards the stage. Ex-Chairman Architect Gururaj Raju Garu, ex-Vice Chairman Architect Narsimhan Garu. May I also now request the Vice Chairman of the host chapter, the Secretary, the Treasurers, the Office Bearers, all of Office Bearers, the EC members to join us as well. From Telangana chapter to join us as well, please.
We now request